So if I was starting this from scratch, I would what I would do is I would take like an hour to mind map out every single thing that needs to happen in my business if I were to bring on more employees, right? So I would just think like, okay, day one, they're going to need access to all the systems. They're going to need 5 or 6 different logins, right? And then in order to do bookkeeping, they're going to need a strong understanding. Like, let's say I'm doing construction accounting, for example, or I'm doing real estate accounting. Like, they're going to need a strong understanding of that. So, like, I need to have trainings, SOPs, documents built around that process. What else are they going to need to know? Well, if they're an admin, they're going to need to know how to use our payment platform and like collect money, right? Just like start to brainstorm and think about all the things that need to happen in your business, but you don't do anything yet. You're just brainstorming. The next time you do something that falls in that category of, hey, I have this new system. Well, you need to take 15 minutes. I promise you, it can be very quicker too, to document like, here's how we get somebody access to Taxstone. Here's how we get somebody access to Drake. Here's how we get somebody access to, here's how they send an invoice, right? Um, Even like, let's say you guys collect deposits up front, but then you bill on the back end. Like, here's the workbook on, hey, every customer pays a $500 deposit. Their tax return is obviously going to be based on the complexity of their files. But here's like the SOP on how to calculate that. So that way an admin person can do that instead of you. Like, I'd spend like an hour, 2 hours of just brainstorming every single thing that's in your business. And then the next time that you personally do that, go and create a process for it. The way that I see it is every time I create a process for something, that's me removing myself from that, and I'll never have to do that ever again. Make sense?
Yeah.
Fantastic stuff.
Would you mind if I? Because yeah, that was my question. So I'm doing everything, and you know, also got to take the time to grow and market and make sure my sales and stuff is good. And a lot of the operations is falling on the back burner, and I already know like I'm gonna eventually will have to hire long term because I don't want to do this for the all of the work myself because I'm not going to have any time to live my life. I'm There's so many things like I know needs to get done, and I know probably will change. And I'm just thinking about the brainstorming is like already overwhelming because how granular should I be getting, and how am I able to document all of that stuff and put it into something that actually makes sense, like an output document. I'm assuming it probably use AI, but I'm just trying to like think of things I need to think about because the thinking also requires thinking. You know what I mean? So I think it's just I'm already overwhelmed with sales and marketing, and then like me adding this, but I know it needs to get done. So I'm just trying to figure out the best process to just to get started.
Here's where I would start. So what is today? Tuesday? Tuesday. Tomorrow, I want you to draw a T chart. You know a T chart, right? Okay. On the left column, you put everything that you like to do or love to do, and on the right, you put everything that you hate to do in your business. Right? Start with the right column. Everything that you hate to do. Everything that you're like, damn, I wish I didn't have to do this. Like, check your email, respond to an email, respond to this, send a follow up message. Like, put everything that you hate to do on the right, and then things that you actually do enjoy doing that you truly love to do on the left. And then start with the right column first. Those are the tasks or the sort of job titles that you're going to start filtering for and like hiring people to do that work, right? So for me, in the beginning, I love to review tax returns. I love to do strategy calls. I love to do a lot of stuff, but I hated doing admin work. I hated following up on emails. I hated doing anything administrative. Um, and I made the mistake of hiring a tax reviewer as my first employee. Why? Why do I think that was a mistake? Because it was the highest paid labor at the time, And the when you think about like your hour output into a machine or like a cog, your time spent on an admin task, like you have a, take your last year's income or take whatever you think you're going to make this year divided by 2,000 hours, like that's your wage, right? So for you to like have to respond to an email or do a follow-up message or anything administrative, like that's the first thing that you have to get in the hands of somebody else. You know, like if I could go back, the first hire I would make would be like an offshore team member, admin person, somebody to like follow up on emails, reach out, set appointments, organize files and documents inside of the software. Like that would be the first hire that I would ever make if I could go back, is like offshore team member, admin role, right? And then as you progress, you're gonna kind of go up the competence ladder, right? So next thing you're gonna do is like hire bookkeepers. Next thing, if you have a tax business, is you're gonna hire preparers, reviewers, and then if you at a certain point you're gonna need to hire people that manage these other people, right? Because then otherwise you're gonna have to manage 60 people yourself, and it's just impossible. Is that helpful?